Okay, what's happening, everybody? Hello, my new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. Well, I told you that I would do a little how-to on some sand riding, and obviously I've got plenty of sand out here. So, first thing I want to talk about is called plowing. And plowing is exactly what it sounds like. It's where you're going slow and you're just plowing through the dirt. It's not fun, and it's what most people do when they first get into sand. They go slow and they wash the front tire around and they fall over, and they never get, you know, kind of floating on the sand, which is really what you want to do to make it fun. If you're just plowing, it's not that much fun. And I mean, everybody plows. I mean, when you're starting off or you go into a tight corner, you're gonna plow. But you want to get out of that plowing mode as quickly as you can. So to do that, what you want to do is get your weight back on the bike. I mean, see, maybe 2/3 of the way back on the seat is where you want to plant yourself, depending on your height, obviously. You don't want to be so far back that you can't ride, but you want to be back a little bit. Get the weight over the rear. Lighten up the front as much as you can. And the second thing you got to do is just keep giving it some gas and stay going. When you come to a stop or slow down too much, you're going to start plowing. So you need to stay moving. Keep your momentum up. So I'll give you an example of plowing and give you an example of a similar situation not plowing. Alright, so I'll start off by plowing, and this, for those of you who have not spent a lot of time in the sand, might look very familiar. Alright, that's an example of plowing. Now, let me do a very similar thing. I'll just scoot back a little bit. And this time I'll go into third gear. I'll get up to maybe, I don't know, 20. And then all of a sudden, you start kind of floating on top of the sand. You're no longer plowing. See how effortless this seems? So that is an example of plowing and an example of not plowing. Now the second thing that you should know is trusting the sand. I mean, the sand is not something that you feel like you can trust because it's, you know, it's so loose and soft. But you can, because you see this corner is a perfect example. You get people coming in here again and again. The sand moves to the outside and it forms a natural berm. So this berm, even though it's sand, will hold you. So I could either plow through this, go slow and just work my way through it and, you know, wear myself out, or I can pick up my speed a little bit. I'm not saying fast, like 20 miles an hour. And then I just push it down as I'm going into the corner. I just let the tires go into it, and it'll hold you as you go around. Let me show you what that looks like. Obviously not this corner, I don't have any speed. You see, I'm just leaning it over into the corner, letting the sand hold the tire, and you just go right on around. Again, keeping your weight back just a little bit. And just trust the sand, it'll hold you. It's counterintuitive, I know. So that's how that works. And you can crank it up a lot faster than that. So the last thing that people always seem to do when they get into sand, or pretty much any type of riding, is they grab onto the bars and they tense up every muscle in their arm, tense up their legs, tense up their shoulders. and they don't want the bike to go anywhere that they don't tell it to. They try to force every inch of the ride where the bike should go. Well, if you do that, you're going to end up on the ground in the sand. You cannot force the bike because the sand is so uneven. When you're forcing it, you're going to force yourself right into the side of a rut that's a little bit harder pecked than you expect, and you're going to go down. So what you want to do is loosen up, bend your elbows, and just let the bike kind of steer itself. You guide the general direction, but all the little stuff, you just let the bike do it. If you notice a lot of my videos, it looks like I'm doing this the whole time. I'm not. I'm just letting the bike steer. So this is what it looks like when you just let the bike do its own thing. You just guide the general direction, and then all the little stuff, let the bike take care of it. You notice when I go to these corners, I start plowing a little bit, and that's when I get on the gas. Keep your momentum up a little bit when you start plowing. Give it some gas. And it'll pull itself out. See, now I'm plowing. Let's get our speed back up here. There we go. And just ride on along. And those are kind of the basics. I mean, it takes a lot of practice to get used to these things, because it's not instinctual to trust sand. It's not instinctual to get back when you're not trying to do a wheelie. It's not instinctual to trust corners or be loose, but you got to. You just let the bike do its thing, you trust the sand, stay back on the bike, and you'll be okay. And I'm not saying that this is all that you need to know, but as you practice these techniques, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll start learning little other things you need to know and pick up on, and everybody's riding's a little bit different. And that's okay. But these are the things that I find helpful. I know I'm in an arroyo, not on a beach or something like that, but I think the same principles apply. Oh, and one other thing is your tires. Sand does... Whoa! See, if I had been holding it too tight there, I would have fallen. Sand is very difficult to ride in if you have a hard terrain type tire, one like with real close treads. It doesn't matter if they're deep, it's the distance between the treads that matters. And so I'm running on the back, I'm running a Dunlop 756, and it's a fairly open tread. It's probably not the most open on the market, but it's pretty open, and it seems to do pretty well. Obviously paddle tires are better, but if you're not riding exclusively deep sand, you don't want one, because you'll just ruin it. So, those are a few tips on riding in the sand. If you got any questions or want to see me do an example of something else, let me know. Comments and feedback are always welcome. And until next time, take care of yourself, and thanks for tagging along.